Hello, Vanessa. How are you?
Hey, Human. I'm fine. And you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm great.
Great. So, Human, today we are going to take a look at informal and formal greetings. Do you know what a greeting is, Human?
A greeting is something friendly or polite that you extend to a person when we want to say hello, or when we meet or welcome someone into our homes.
Great. And what is an informal greeting?
An informal greeting is something we use with family and friends, usually with people that we know very well. So if I had to bump into a friend at the shopping mall, I would use an informal greeting. Could you tell us what is a formal greeting?
Well, a formal greeting is one we use with someone we have never met before or someone that we don't know very well. So, for example, if you went to a meeting with your bank manager, you would probably use a formal greeting.
Yes, I would hope so, because if you want something, you'll be very formal.
True.
But when we started today, we greeted each other with the words hello and hey. What type of greeting would you say that is, formal or informal?
That is an informal greeting, Human, because we are friends, so we don't need to be formal with each other. So let's take a look at other phrases that we can use in informal greetings. So after saying hello and hey, how would we continue the conversation?
I would continue by immediately saying, how's it going? This is an informal way to ask someone how they are. So even though this is an informal greeting, we still ask the other person how he or she is. How would you respond to this in an informal way? If I say, how's it going?
I would say something like, I'm good, thanks, or great, thanks, and you?
Perfect. When we talk with friends and family, we often ask about their lives. We can ask questions like, what's up, or what's new, or how are things? These are very informal phrases. We never use them in a formal greeting. Do you agree?
Definitely, definitely. So, and I could respond to a question like, what's up or what's new with, pretty good, nothing much, something like that. And Human, what would you say to someone or a friend or someone that you know well that you haven't seen in a while?
That's a good one. I would probably sneak up, tap the person on the shoulder and say, long time no see. That's a great phrase to use in everyday English language. This is how we talk to each other when we meet informally and when we see one another informally. We wouldn't use this in a formal greeting at all. But now that we have covered how you say hello, how do we say goodbye in an informal way when we need to end the conversation, if each of us would go our separate ways?
I could say something like, sorry, Human, I've got to go, see you around. So this is also very informal, and it's a way to say, I'll see you again soon.
Yes, and I would respond to that by saying something like, bye, take it easy, which is an informal way to say, take care or look after yourself until we see one another again.
Perfect, great. So those are the informal greetings. Now let's take a look at formal greetings. How would you greet someone in a formal way?
First, I would look at my body posture. I would make sure that I stand up straight, and I would say hello. And while I say hello, I'll extend my hand and then probably shake hands, especially if it's someone that we've never met before. This is a very common practice in formal greetings. So let's show other people how to shake hands by starting with a formal greeting. Hello.
Hello.
And then we take each other's hands, and then we give it a gentle shake. We don't shake the person up and down, but this is a very gentle and formal way of just saying hello.
Yes, and normally while we are shaking hands, we would say something like, how do you do? Nice to meet you, or it's a pleasure to meet you. And then the other person would say, nice to meet you too, or great to make your acquaintance.
Absolutely. And this word acquaintance is a very, very formal word. That word you would use when you meet someone very, very important.
Yes, very important, definitely. So, Human, do people shake hands in an informal greeting?
Actually, yes. It's quite common and quite common practice for two male friends to shake hands when they meet up. For female friends and family members, they sometimes shake hands, but usually they hug when they greet.
Mm.
That's definitely not suitable for a formal greeting.
No.
And when you meet up, don't forget that it's always polite to ask someone how they are. Informal as well as informal greetings. So would you ask someone in a formal way, what's up, or how's it going?
No, those are definitely for informal greetings. In a formal greeting, we would ask, how are you? And then the normal response would be something like, I'm well, thank you. How are you? And the response to that would be, I'm very well, thank you. Something like that. So I wouldn't use phrases like not bad or pretty good in a formal greeting. What do you think?
I definitely agree. Phrases like not bad, pretty good, quite informal.
Mm.
So what would you say to someone, and this is quite an interesting one, what would you say to someone that you see in the street that you think you know, but you are not very sure?
Okay. So in that case, I would probably go up to them and say, excuse me, are you Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith? Have we met before? Or excuse me, I think we met last month, something like that.
That's perfect. We can also use that question with someone we have never met, but want to meet. Can I give an example?
Yes, please.
If I'm at work and I see a new face in the office that I've never seen before, I could walk up to them and politely maybe tap them on the shoulder or stand next to them and say, excuse me, are you the new secretary, engineer, or the new teacher?
Great example, definitely. Very good. So, Human, how do we say goodbye in a formal way? Could I say things like, see you around, take it easy?
No, those are very informal phrases. I would probably say goodbye. It was nice to meet you. And while I say that, I will again extend my hand to shake hands. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. I think it's quite common in a formal setting to shake hands when you say hello and when you say goodbye. So yes, I agree.
Well, Vanessa, thank you for joining me today. I hope we have helped everyone to understand the differences between informal and formal greetings.
Me too, Human. I hope so. Now it's time for us to say goodbye. So take it easy.
And I will say, see you around, Vanessa. Bye.
Bye. Find your English voice with IQ Global. Go to our website, www.iqglobal.com, to find out more.